Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. After we talked about Sam in my previous video, how about we move on into another character that will be appear in version 2.3. Yeah, I know, maybe a lot of you can't wait any longer for the full kit of Jade. So, is she really a queen of pure fiction? Let's jump into it. Okay, before we jump into her final release kit, I wanna let you know that Jade will release in version 2.3. So it is around 2 months away from now. Like the previous information, she will follow the path of an erudition and has quantum combat type. Unlike Sam, who is a universal character, Jade is specialized on defeating multiple targets at once. So, if you are looking into a unit who can wipe everything in a single instant, then you came into the right place. Her basic attack, which called a Last of Riches, is quite interesting for me. Why? Because like we know that most of units in this game usually only do a single target attack as their basic attack. But she is quite different. She will deal a quantum damage equal to 90% of Jade's attack to a single target enemy and 30% of Jade's attack to adjacent enemies. It means her basic attack is an AoE. I know it's not a big thing, but I think it's really unusual. And now let's move on into her skill. Okay, this one is also a unique thing about her. She's an erudition path who best at defeating multiple enemies. Also can give buff as well. She targets a single ally to become a debt collector and increases their speed by 30. And every single time they attack, deals one instance of additional quantum damage equal to 20% of Jade's attack to each enemy target hit. Okay, if you read on the first paragraph of the description, of course it seems this one is also a good skill. But you must read carefully on the next line. Jade also consumes the debt collector HP by 5% for each attacks. It means she only can be paired extremely well with a certain character who can exploit her buff. Blade for the example. Next, we will talk about her ultimate, which called a Foe of Deep. She will deal quantum damage equal to 240% of Jade's attack to all enemies, and at the same time, she will enhance her follow-up attack through her talent by 80%. This effect can activate 2 times. So, if we take a look on her follow-up attack deals around like 120%, and it will become 200% when her ult is active. So her follow-up attack damage is just as near as her ult somehow. It is pretty nice, I think. Okay, next thing is her talent. If you take a look into her talent, actually it has 2 passive effects. First is after Jade or ally that had become the debt collector, she gains 1 charge for each enemy target attacked. In this line, we must understand that more target attacked by the debt collector, the more charge she will get. It means the unit who received the buff must be an AoE unit, right? When the charge reaches 8, she will consume all of the charges to launch follow-up attacks one time, and dealing 120% to all enemies. It is pretty good, I think. Also, this second passive effect is Jade will gain 5 stacks of buff called Pawn Asset, which increasing her critical damage by 2.4%. This effect can stack up to 50 times. So, if we calculated that, then she can get around like 120% of critical damage increase, which is, I think, it is pretty insane. Now we move on into her technique. After using the technique, inflicts enemies within a set area with blindability for 10 seconds. Enemies inflicted with blindability will not actively attack allies. When entering battle via actively attacking enemies inflicted with blindability, all enemies with blindability will enter combat simultaneously. Deals quantum damage equal to 50% of Jade's attack to all enemies, and immediately gains 15 stacks of Pawn Asset. This one is also pretty good for her. 15 stacks of Pawn Asset in the beginning of the battle will give a nice buff for her attack and critical damage. So, I think it is recommended to use it before the big battle coming up. For her traces, the first one is called a Reverse Repo. When enemy target enter combat, Jade gain 1 stacks of Pawn Asset. And when a debt collector ally's turn starts, Jade additionally gains 3 stacks of pawn asset. Okay, I think this one is pretty clear that she will excels in pure vision mode, since this trace is quite useful in pure vision. Next is collateral ticket. When the battle starts, Jade's action is advanced forward by 50%. I think this one is okay. And the third one is asset forfeiture, which can increasing Jade's attack by 0.5% for each pawn asset. This traces is also quite good, I think, makes her damage even harder. Now let's move on into her Eidolons. Honestly, her first Eidolon is just too good to be missed. One additional charge every time she gets charged will change her a lot. Yeah, I mean a lot. This traces alone means she will do a follow-up attacks 2 times more than at E0. I think if you are set your mind to pull her in 2.3, then I would suggest you to get her Eidolon 1 at least. Next, let's talk about her second Eidolons. This one is also a really good Eidolons so far. It will increase Jade's critical rate by 18% when there are 15 of pawn asset. I mean, it's literally a free buff. We must remember that Jade can get an instant 15 pawn asset by only using her technique alone. So after using her technique, then she will get an additional 18% of critical rate. Next is her Eidolons 4. When she using her ultimate, the damage Jade deals will ignore 12% of enemy target's defense, lasting for 3 turns. I must say that this Eidolons also a good one. Although it's just an additional buff, but it is good. Is it worth it? I think yes. And we arrived at her Eidolon 6. When there are a debt collector allies on the field, Jade's quantum resistant penetration increases by 20%. And Jade gains the debt collector state. Okay, I must be honest with you, this one is insanely good. I know you must be wondering what is good about her E6. Jade gains the debt collector state, that's all. Well, if you follow me from the start, every single time the debt collector attacks, she will deals an additional damage. She also gains another charge when she attacks the enemies. Also, she will get another pawn asset when she get her turn. And many things I can say in this section. This is a really good effect, hands down. Is it worth it to get an E6? Absolutely. Okay, next we will talk about her dedicated Lightcone. Her dedicated Lightcone is known as Yet Hope is Priceless, which only for units who follows an erudition path. I think it is pretty good. It will increases critical rate by 16% and it increases the damage dealt by follow-up attacks by 16% for every 20% critical damage that exceeds 120% up to 4 stacks. It also can ignore 16% of enemy's defense when the wearer uses a basic attack, the ultimate, and follow-up attacks. For me personally, if you can make it to get her Lightcones, then go for it. It is really worth it, guys. Okay, we move on into the last part of the video, which is her new relic. These new relics will come out in version 2.3 and I think the new relic is really fit into her kit. It is called the Wing Soaring Valorous. The 2 pieces effect is increases attack by 12%, which is good for everyone, including Jade, and the 4 pieces effect is when the wearer uses an ultimate or unleashes follow-up attacks, increase the wearer's damage dealt by 20%. This effect stacks up to 2 times and will be dispelled at the end of the wearer's turn. Okay, I think this new relic is really fit with her kit, but since there's a similar relic who is also good for follow-up attacks units like the Ash Blazing Grand Duke sets, for the example, I'm still not quite sure which one is the best relics for her. Overall, whichever you pick is fine, although the best relic is still questionable. And next for the new ornament is called Duran Dynasty of Running Wolves. When an ally unleashes follow-up attacks, the wearer gains 1 stack of merit, up to maximum of 6 stacks. Each stack of merit increases the wearer's follow-up attack damage dealt by 4%. When the maximum of 6 stack is reached, additionally increases the wearer's critical damage by 24%. Okay, this one is really good for her for sure. With this ornament, she can gain additional follow-up attack damage up to 24%, and when the maximum stack is reached, she will gain additional critical damage by 24%, which is perfect for her. Okay, then I think for the final build you are looking for is quite similar with other units. So this one is maybe fit for her. So, after we talk everything about her final release kits, should we pull her or not? First, unlike Sam who needs a ton of stats, she is a friendly unit. So, if you are a new player, then she definitely can be useful for you. She is like the best in the pure fiction. So, if you are looking for a unit who excels at pure fiction, then go for it. Unlike Acheron who needs a certain unit, she can easily be paired with anyone. You can also put her as mono quantum team. It's one of the best benefits for her. And for the cons, she is not the best for defeating the boss, of course. And unlike Bothil or Sam who can put the weakness by themselves, maybe you need a Silver Wolf as your support. Okay guys, that's everything about her full guide, and what do you think? Do you wanna pull her later? Please leave your comment on the comment section below. Also don't forget to check out my another guide video. Thank you for watching, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you next video.